If you think that your RV may have a propane leak, then that's something that we want to get solved pretty quickly. So here is the test that takes less than 5 minutes that can let you know with 100% certainty whether or not you have a leak in your rig or not. If you don't know me, hi, hello, my name is Emily. I am a certified RV repair tech, and this is RV Repair Woman. So the test we're going to do today is called the time pressure drop test. And while the name sounds long and complicated, the test itself is actually really simple and easy to perform. I guarantee you can do this. To perform a time pressure drop test, the first thing you're going to need is a manometer, which every time I hear it makes me want to go, manometer, doot, 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 manometer, doot, 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 doot. But this guy, if you open him up, is just a meter with a tube sticking out of it. It's that simple. Once you have your manometer in hand, you're then going to head over to your stove. We're going to take apart the top of the stove until we can get to the guts of the burners. This again can sound complicated. It's usually just like 2 pieces you need to take off the top. You usually just take off these grill racks and then just pop off the top of your stove. Sometimes you can just get it to wedge up and stay up like this, but usually with a little wiggling, this guy just pops off and gets out of your way. And the inside of your stove should look something like this. Woohoo! Next, we're just going to remove one of these burners so we can get easier access to this little spout that lets out the propane. These guys are usually just attached with one screw back here and he'll pop right off. Ta-da! This is roughly what it should look like once you remove the burner. Once you've got your little spout exposed, you're then going to look inside your manometer kit and see that it most likely came with a little funnel attachment like this. Go ahead and wiggle that funnel attachment onto that spout that you just exposed. Sometimes it takes a little bit of wiggling back and forth, but he should slide right on there. Now that you've got that little nipply guy, nipple, fun word. Now that you've got this nipple attached, you can then go ahead and just prop your manometer over here, and you could attach the hose to that nipple attachment. Boop. You are now all set up and ready to perform a time pressure drop test. You're doing great. For step 1 of the actual test, make sure that your propane is on, and then go ahead and open the burner that you've attached the nipple to and set it to high. With no other propane appliances on in your RV, you should get a reading of around 11 inches of water column. If you are unfamiliar with inches of water column, it's a way that we measure pressure. It's essentially the same as PSI, but meant for very, very small measurements of pressure. So instead of having to say like 0.000 something of PSI, we just measure in inches of water column instead. You got this. Now that we've confirmed that we have around 11 inches of water column going through our RV, we're then going to take the pressure and drop it to 8 inches of water column. This is going to release any back pressure in the system and prevent us from getting a false negative test down the road. Basically, we don't want any back pressure in the lines to help hide any leak that we might have. So we're going to drop the pressure a bit, so that way that doesn't happen. The way that we do this is first we go turn our propane off, and then we're just going to open one of the propane burners that isn't the one that we have attached to the manometer. And we're just going to keep it open until this meter drops down to 8 inches of water column. This can take a couple tries to get right. I'm going to warn you here, the first time that you do this, you are most likely going to screw it up, and that's okay. That's why it's so great that this test is really quick and easy. When you first go to release pressure, you're going to see that the needle really wants to stay around 10. And it's going to sit there for a while at 10, and you're going to be like, did I actually turn off the gas? Is this thing going to go down? And then you're going to find out of nowhere, it is just going to start plummeting. And there's a real good chance that the first time you do this, your reaction time isn't going to be fast enough, and it's going to plummet down to like 2 or 0. It's totally okay. Just go turn your propane back on, turn it back off, and try the test again. I found the first couple of times that I practiced this test, it was easier if I just let off a little bit and then close the burner. Let off a little bit and then close the burner. And then just did this several times until it eventually got down to 8. But don't worry, if you don't get it smack on 8 your first try. Everyone screws this up the first time that they try it. Once you've gotten that meter down to 8 inches of water column, all you have left to do is wait 3 to 5 minutes and see what happens. We're hoping at the end of 3 minutes that needle has not moved at all. If it has dropped even a single tick on your meter, then you have a propane leak somewhere in your RV. Something has let pressure out. But if at the end of 3 to 5 minutes that needle hasn't budged at all, then you can sleep in your RV with total confidence that you do not have a propane leak in your RV. Congratulations! If you did find that you have a propane leak in your RV, that's something that you're going to want to get solved as soon as possible. Even a small propane leak that you cannot smell can lead to big problems if it ends up in contact with a flame. So how do you go about tracking down where this propane leak is coming from? Unfortunately, you've got a pretty big project on your hands. This is something that you might find immediately, or if you have an older RV where a lot of your connections are rusty and difficult to open and close, this could be a problem that you are never able to fully track down. I will say the first things that I would go check would be the easy things. Go make sure that the gas connection for your water heater, fridge, and furnace are all nice and tight, and then run that time pressure drop test again and see if you pass. You can also go purchase gas leak solution, which is this pink, essentially soap and water solution that you can spray on any gas connection. And if it creates bubbles, then you've got a leak in that connection. A lot of people just use soap and water. That is totally an option. I just find that fighting to make sure that you have the perfect soap and water mixture can be a real pain in the ass, and at least for me as a professional, it's worth it to get the pink liquid, but you do what works best for you. If the easy culprits turn out not to be your problem, then you're going to want to start taking a systematic approach, disconnecting parts one by one, getting special adapters so you can connect your manometer directly to an appliance and making sure that appliance isn't your problem. Disconnecting your fridge and capping the line, running the test again. You can see how this can go down a rabbit hole real quickly. There's a reason why I do not take propane leak calls anymore. But at the very least, you at least can now diagnose this problem yourself. And if you're considering buying an RV, either new or used, I personally will never purchase an RV without running a time pressure drop test on it first to know for sure it does not have a propane leak before I put money into that rig. If you would like to learn about other quick and easy tests like this that you can do yourself, if you're considering doing your own inspection of an RV before you buy it, check out this video. And in the meantime, this has been RV Repair Woman. You got this.